Rich, what does it mean to have Gailey back this week, first of all?
Well, look, James, I think it's pretty obvious. One of the elements of our game, what we've struggled with, and has been a bit of a consequence to, I guess, where we are at the moment, has been our inability to have a stable lineup and halfbacks playing in the halfback roles. So he's a welcome return. You know, he's our captain. He kicks the ball and touches the ball more than any other player we've got. So his influence back in the team has been immediate, and given plenty of people some confidence around him. I think keep it nice and simple, but at the same time, clearly, James, it's been a very, very tricky situation for us. Forced upon us, absolutely forced upon us, changing our halves every week and having people playing out of position, if you like, and some square pegs in round holes for a number of weeks.
I'm pretty sure that Gailey's raring to go, is he?
Yeah, and we got him back into training last week. I guess the challenge has been holding him back. He was trying to get back a week early, so the week off almost as, I guess, done us a bit of a favour, James, because the last game was probably too early. Had we played last week, I'm sure he would have pushed and wanted to play, but this is just giving it the required time of what the surgeons and the specialists have deemed right and correct for the injury. So no, he's trained unaffected all week, mate.
So is Kyle okay to go as well?
There's a chance we name him in our squad, but again, we'll have a look at our lineup closer to the weekend. It's fair to say, I'm not going to deny that Luke's going to be back in the lineup, mate. But we'll name our lineup at our team room tomorrow.
What about other possible injury? Not the suspended guys, because they'll come back next week. But what about the guys rehabbing? Who could be next back in?
Right off the top of my head, so obviously you've mentioned it. We get Zane and Richie back next week, which again will help us. I think Cameron Smith is now coming into week 5 of what hopefully is 8 weeks, maybe 3 weeks away. Newman's getting closer and closer. So Newman's trained a couple of times with the team this week. Looked really good, to the untrained eye, and to us guys as coaches looking at him, you can still see that. There is a bit of a limp still there, but when I say a limp, when he's running full pace, you won't see it. But condition-wise, body-wise, where his leg is in terms of mended, speed that he's running at is higher than it's ever been. So he's got more powerful as he's been off. So even though to the naked eye you would look at him and think there's still times when you see him where it looks like he's carrying it a fraction, actually his movement and his speeds are in front of where they were before he got injured. So that's really positive for us. And he is earmarking, I think, St Helens game as a possible comeback game. Touch wood, all being well, and he's still got a couple of clearances on that. That side apart, Rob Louis, probably 3 to 4 weeks at the moment, but he's back up and going. Who else have we got? James Walker's obviously out longer period and for the season. Holroyd is getting close too. So again, we're looking at another 2 to 3 weeks before Holroyd is back available for selection, which is a crying shame for Holroyd. We'd got him earmarked for a spot in our 17 round 1, and he'd had a massive pre-season. Very, very unfortunate that he picked up what he picked up in the way he did. But again, he's in good shape, and it'll be a much needed and welcome return for us.
Just on Rob Louis, obviously he's gone public about this being his final year. Did that take you by surprise, and does it need you now looking for another half?
Oh no, we knew this a long time ago, James. We knew this pre-season. Rob is coming to the end of his career. Probably physically, he's the biggest challenge for Rob. At the moment, as we've seen with him breaking down with an injury, that's the biggest challenge. And at the start of the year, Rob talked about this was going to be his last year. He wanted to finish on a really positive note. After he got injured, we had some further talks with him about had he got the desire and fire burning to rehabilitate himself and get back off what were going to be a lengthy injury. The answer was a resounding yes. and he's training really hard, and he wants to go out on his terms. So we're more than happy with that. We knew that, and it's something that we've been able to prepare for a long time. To be honest, I didn't know he'd announced it. He announced it yesterday. I weren't too sure he'd put that out, but I've known internally for a long time. So yeah, we're planning accordingly. James, knowing that Rob's not going to be here, and what I will say about Rob is, I think we as a club need to look at the circumstances in which we signed him. We were in a really, really difficult spot when we signed Rob. I think relegation were a distinct possibility for that team and the way it were playing at that particular time. I think his immediate impact on walking into the club, what he gave us on the field, and what he gave us as a guy, senior player, great teammate, really good with the young boys, positive nature every day. We then got back in the playoffs and won a Challenge Cup, which is the first trophy of Rob's career. So that were a really special moment for Rob, and a special moment for us to experience that with him. And I think, what were tricky circumstances at the time, and what's been a tricky last year, I think Rob's given a lot to this club. We knew the last year we would be edging closer to the back end of Rob's career, but I thought the impact he had on the club at a very, very difficult time, and what he subsequently achieved for us, and we're able to tick that box himself, and what's been a long and successful career, but a career where he's nearly got there a couple of times and never quite. I think Robbie's been great for us, despite us having a year where getting him fit and not being on the field for us has been difficult. But still, the bigger picture, I'm very appreciative that I've got to work with Rob, and he's been terrific for our club.
So what about Wakefield? What do you think you'll get from them this week?
Look, I think they're a team that, they've been trying really hard in games and lost the way at times in games. They've, like ourselves, they've had to change the team a number of times through some injuries and some important players for them. Tommy Johnston being one. Ashurst has been an important player for him. Jacob Miller, obviously, is a key player for him. So they've had some difficulties, having to bring long players in and stuff like that. But I think they'll pull enough positives out of a lot of the games that they've played, and see that they will still be thinking, there's a team in there that's very capable of getting results. I think Joe Westerman's really stood up for him in a time where they've needed someone to grab all the games at time. I think he's getting his hands on the ball a lot, and has been a major focus for their attack. And I'm pretty good mates with Joe, so I know a lot of people will be thinking this is a mate talking about a mate, but you've got to trust me on this. I definitely wouldn't say that about Joe unless I meant it. So I think he's been a real shining light for him. I think Lee Kershaw's done a really good job for him as well. His work rate, his effectiveness as a wing, I think he's done a terrific job from carrying the ball.
How big a 2 points is it for these two sides, given the sort of records going into the game, do you feel?
Yeah, well, obviously our record isn't a good one at this particular moment in time, James. So, we're desperate to get back on the horse, and I've been every week, since our last win, if I'm honest. I think in perspective for us, we've got to keep the guys positive, and I think they have been. We've Hull K out apart, which we had a particularly flat performance. We've been up to our neck set in the contest. We haven't been good enough to get over the line. I think generally the talk among our boys is we understand there's some reasons behind that and some contributory factors, but at the same time, we're not happy with that, and we're disappointed that we haven't been able to get over the line in at least one or two of those games for sure. But we're not going to make any excuses either. Having said that, we still think there is ample time ample time left in the season, and enough ability in this side to get a good run going in it.
And just finally for me, Rich, it will obviously be your final game behind closed doors. Personally, what does that mean to you to get fans back in from next week? And are you envious at all of the clubs getting to do that in this round?
We've waited so long, so I guess we can wait another week, James. But yeah, what I will say, it's just going to be great for the game, mate, because it does lack. It's strange, and the longer it's gone on, I think it becomes more challenging for the sport and the players in particular. I think the players absolutely thrive off the atmosphere that's created at games, and I think I've said it numerous times. Our players absolutely miss the South Stand and the home support they get, and Friday nights is a wonderful atmosphere and place to play at Headingley. And we've missed them, and we think they've been a terrific asset for that. Certainly in my time at the club, and I'm talking about some times when we've been in tricky situations before, and times where we've been going really well. They play a huge part, and it's part of the fabric of the sport. So yeah, we're all, as a sport, looking forward to that, and it'll be terrific to get them back in.